Welcome back to the Isn't That Rich podcast. I'm your host, Jill Franks.
And I'm Ashley McVicker.
And before we get into today's episode, I want you to take a moment just to think about the last time your child's school needed a new scoreboard, or maybe a local business needed to expand and create jobs. And chances are behind those stories is a community bank. So today we're joined by Farmers State Bank CEO Charles Holland to talk about why banks are truly the backbone of small communities and how that plays out right here in Southern Illinois.
Yeah. Charlie, welcome back on.
Thank you guys for having me again.
You haven't been here in a while. Have you been to our new studio yet?
I haven't been to the new studio.
Oh, well, we're letting you back on today.
But I do have to say, I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Seeing some of our competitors do some of these podcasts, and you guys were out 2-3 years ahead of them. You guys have been putting out good content, so I thank you guys for that.
Thanks, Charlie.
So for people that maybe are just starting to listen to our podcast or haven't seen you on the one that you did from teller to CEO, why don't you go ahead and share your background in community banking and what you do at the bank today?
I can do that. Family business. I married into the family, and it was a family-owned bank. I got the joy of being an accountant first, got my degree at SIU and got an accounting degree, worked for a coal mine for a couple of years, and then went to work for the bank as a teller. And actually, from the moment I was a teller, I realized this is where I want to be in community banking, dealing with customers and helping customers, and just kind of that servant-minded attitude that goes along with community banks. That's where I found out that this is where I want to be. So worked my way up from teller, loan officer, operations, HR, marketing.
Yeah, he's done it all before.
Up to CEO. So fell in love with it early, and that's where I wanted to be. Love it every day.
Yeah, I think that's what makes you so relatable and such a great CEO, is that you've held every single position at the bank, and people can come to you to talk to you about anything. So I'd like to acknowledge you for that, because that's great.
Thank
Since
you.
we're acknowledging.
So what does the term community bank mean to you compared to other larger banking institutions?
Community bank is what it says. Community. It's community minded. It's focused on building up the community by people buying their first homes or upgrading their homes or getting into a small business. It's keeping the community viable and livable. We're not just, like the large institutions just coming in to gather deposits, to do these big deals, to help cities and, to expand these huge businesses. We're helping the small business. We're helping the schools. It takes a lot for a small community to stay viable. And once the bigger banks come in and the community banks leave, a lot of the money leaves, and it doesn't stay right there in the local community. So
yeah, I had no idea what it meant. I feel like when you're just out of banking, you're not into it and you're young, you don't really understand what all of it means. When I got hired, we would say community bank all the time. And so it's interesting to be inside of the banking system and notice the difference, because we only have 5 branches. And then some of these other bigger banks that we talk about, like US Bank is one I can use for example, like they're nationwide.
right.
They don't have a specific community probably that they care about. And we're Southern Illinois, that's our
right.
community.
Yeah. I want to talk about the basics, walk us through a dollar, because like Ashley said, if somebody's new to community banking or even new to banking in general, people don't realize what the process of banking looks like. So somebody comes in, opens an account. What happens to the dollar once it's there?
So when it comes in and they bring the money in to make it open an account, put the deposit, a bank turns around and lends that out to someone buying a home, or like I said, a small business or ag loans or whatever. And we charge interest on that loan, and that interest is what pays the depositor, and then the extra is what we put back in the community and into the shareholders.
Yeah, because people don't realize that's how we fund those things that we do for the community, is through that.
That's right.
Yeah. What kind of loans would you say make the biggest difference in a small town? Like agriculture, because we do a lot. We do small business, we do home loans, all of those kind of loans. What kind of make the biggest impact?
I think they all make the same impact, basically. When you do your ag loans, you are supporting the farmers that are, putting the produce out there for us. They all have employees also. So they're supporting not just their family, but other families. Buying homes in the community when people are rooting themselves and staying in the small town and not leaving the area is great. Home equity loans, building, keeping their houses nice and upgrading when they need them are very important too. And then small businesses, keeping people employed. We don't want to see unemployment in our area, and it leads to bad things. So I think they're all very important. That's what a community bank does. They do them all. We don't specialize in just one thing.
Yeah. I love that. Do you remember this, Ashley, when we had the mayor on and he said, if somebody $1 used to a small business, which is a community bank, goes through the community, what was it, 7 or 11 times? I can't remember
it's like
the
7,
number.
9, or 11, one of those numbers.
Yeah. So it makes a different impact 7 times, 7 different small business. I think that's so
right. And I think, we're talking about when people deposit money into our bank, it's like you said, that money directly goes to most likely a local business loan around here. Like you don't realize how far your dollar goes by just sitting in a community bank.
Right.
I think this is interesting too, to back up about the difference between, is there an actual thing that qualifies you as a community bank rather than a large nationwide bank, like numbers wise or deposits or assets or anything like that?
They go by asset size because you have, besides the large institutions of your JP Morgan or your US Bank, these mega banks, you have regional banks too, like your regions. They're more of a regional bank. And then you have there are $1 billion banks, $10 billion banks that are still community banks.
Oh, okay.
So, asset size usually does it, but it's usually a community they're rooted in certain communities and they're just a smaller footprint.
Smaller footprint. Okay.
Yeah.
Without saying the name of a business, can you share a story that we helped expand their business, maybe through a loan, that ended up helping create jobs or opportunities in our area?
One was a small business that was towards the end of the life cycle of an individual that wanted to retire. And so he had been slowly shrinking his business, and local guys wanted to buy it. They went in and bought it. We helped them finance that, and they were able to expand it and grow it, adding a lot more employees. So seeing the next generation take over someone's business was great. And then also seeing them expand and grow and build up that area and get involved in the community was really good to see. Another one was similar story. They owned a franchise in town, and they were ready to retire, and a family wanted to go in and take it over, and we lent them the money to do that. And they are one of the leaders in the franchise with their technology, with their mobile app and things like that. Got recognized for being the number one in the nation with their app adoption. So, seeing stuff like that is a lot of fun.
Really cool coming from our area.
Yes.
Do you see a lot of people in those situations that maybe they went to a bigger institution first and maybe they got turned down, and then they decide, through their banking research, decided to go try for a community bank to get a loan from a community bank that then we've been able to help people and they've been successful, but then the bigger banks turn them down? Does that happen a lot?
I think sometimes what happens is they go online because they're fearful of not understanding banking. So they go online, they apply, they get their first business loan, and then realize they don't have someone to talk to. And that's where the community bank really stands out, because we actually try to partner with our customers and help them be successful. And, they have issues and they don't know where to reach out. And when you're reaching out to a 1-800 number or a chat, you don't know who's on the other side of that chat. And I think, a lot of times that they realize at that point, I need to find somebody. So a lot of times it's through our customers talking to those people and say, oh yeah, I've had that issue. Why don't you reach out to, Charlie at Farmers and see if he can help you out.
Yeah.
I think what you were trying to get at too is like there's so much more personalization or so much knowledge about the person when it comes to making those loan decisions that a community bank may be able to take into consideration when they're looking at a loan too.
Right. Rather than just an internet application.
Right.
Like,
So they see the bigger picture of what this person is trying to do. Maybe, you know, that, like you said, they're a big person in the community. You can know, like, and trust them a little bit more as a community banker.
Well, character plays a big role when we approve loans too. So it's not just credit quality and the cash flow, but, you know, character. And you don't get that through the online banking portal. You don't see their history or know them, that they're a third generation and they've, you know, been farming, and now families got into a trucking business and they've always been successful. Yeah, you don't see that on the online side. So that's where the community bank can see their character and know these people for, you know, multi-generations.
Yeah. Right. I remember when I was building my house, like I could not have done it without Polly.
I know.
Because, I mean, I talk to her 24/7. I say this, I obviously work with her, so it's a lot easier for me to just pop in her office. But, I mean, I don't know how people do anything with just like an online bank, because I needed her guidance, her expertise on so many things. And yeah, I just don't know. I would never not go be with like a human at a bank with like your most important thing, which is your finances.
And that's the difference between a community bank. I mean, all of our loan officers and tellers and everybody within the bank, I mean, you know, it's our goal to help them throughout any stage of life, whether it's building your first home or going through retirement or expanding a business or starting a business. You know, our staff, you know, they're in the community, so they see them, they can ask them questions and check on them and see how they're doing. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So another part of community banking is giving people peace of mind. So what are some of the protections or ways that a bank like ours can help those people have some peace of mind?
Being a community bank, you have people that you can go talk to, and the personal touch is what helps a lot of them. So when they have online fraud or they have a debit card fraud, they're actually talking to someone they know that can help them get it cleared up a lot faster. You know, we've had small businesses get hit with wire fraud, and when you hit with wire fraud, you have to act quickly. And we had a customer now that was with another bank and they couldn't get through the 1-800 number to get help quick enough. So, you know, we get that instant help that helps, you know, customers feel protected a lot better than, you know, going through a chat. So yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Nothing will get my goat worse than sitting on a hold when I need to have something happen quickly. And that's one of the great things with farmers too. You always speak to a live person, you know. We pride ourselves on that, being able to answer the calls ourselves, and you'll always speak with one of us.
Yeah, so knowing the person that you're talking to helps tremendously make you feel a lot safer, because they know that we're working harder for them.
Yeah.
They're just not a number.
I think too, we're really good at communicating between branches with all of the staff. Like if something's going on with a specific customer, like I can't tell you how many emails that have flown by my desk that are like, hey, we got something going on with this person, like watch out for it. Like really good at communicating. And I think that's important, because if they go hit up another branch for something, you know, fraud, you gotta let the other people know quickly. So we do a good job at that as well. Yeah,
and fraud is just rampant. People work so hard on earning their money, they don't want to see it just taken by scams. It's sickening.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, Charlie, is this for real or is this a scam? It's so nice to have that one-on-one communication. So
what do you feel like are some other, so frauds, obviously we talk about this all the time, it's on the rise, it's a big thing. What are some things that, you know, we're doing at Farmers State Bank to protect people?
I think one of the biggest things, you know, the romance scam is huge. And you would think it would be just a certain age of population, older age, or it's from young kids all the way through senior adults that are struggling with the romance scam. They're, you know, lonely, and all of a sudden, it's crazy how much the stories that we could tell. But I think, you know, our staff does a very good job asking the questions, and we're not trying to pry into their private life, but we've seen so many people taken for tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, their entire retirement, all their savings, thinking that that person's going to come over from, Russia and be their spouse. And so it's asking those questions, getting a little deeper and getting the fraud stopped early before it's too late. I think that's the biggest protection that community banks do a lot better at, or that we do a lot better at.
Yeah, I agree.
Is staying on top of it, because we see it weekly. People coming in thinking that they've met the love of their life.
Yeah, it's so sad to watch.
Oh, yes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I think we've done a good job too at educating people.
Absolutely.
Whether it's through a seminar or even through this podcast, not to toot our own horn, but education is so important. And I feel like even our tellers are so good at just educating people when they're opening an account. Like if you've never opened a bank account before, you don't know any of this stuff. And so education, I think, is something we do really well.
Yeah. To kind of go a different direction, I know Farmers State Bank invests a lot of time and money into our communities, whether it's financial literacy, like you were just talking about, local sponsoring, the events, everything that's happening around our communities, the schools, supporting the schools. Why is that important to you as a CEO?
I think we're supposed to be servant-minded, and we're supposed to be helping our community at all costs. I think it's important. Just like you said, the seminar, the fraud seminar, we had a huge turnout for the fraud seminar, to train, our local community, because people don't want to come ask the questions by themselves, but they're more likely to come to an event and do some learning and then get engaged. The reality fairs for students, it's amazing that, how money education has been just dismissed as not needed, and it's needed. The kids, when we did that, we had a really good engagement with the kids, asking a lot of questions, because they just think that their debit card gets reloaded whenever they're out of money, and that's not the case. And they don't realize that mom and dad are paying a lot of money for their clothes and their shoes and their entertainment. It was cute to watch some of them say, you know what, I don't want any pets. They cost too much. But
they go, I don't want any kids either.
I don't want any kids either, because they cost a lot. They don't realize that. And they're getting ready to embark on college or trades or getting a job, and it costs a lot of money. So, I think it's important that we train up our next generation, and we take care of our senior adults, and we take care of our community from being frauded. I think it's important that we spend the money to better our community at all costs. And it's the same with, you see our banners on all the baseball fields and on the backs of the jerseys, and supporting the bands and theater. And, if we're not doing that, who is? Because there's not a lot that are able to do that. And, those things are important,
Yeah, and you're definitely not going to see the big bank's name on someone's baseball shirt.
No,
not a bit.
People don't realize that there are so many needs out there that community banks help provide for. If we said yes to every single thing that came across our desk, you would not believe the number.
We'd be broke, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean,
if
we said yes to every single thing, but the community banks do support so many things. If you go to a fundraiser event I just think about like the Marion Chamber of Commerce event, and all the people there are the community banks. I mean, we kind of kid about it.
We're like a golf. If you go to a golf scramble, it's literally all the banks.
All the bankers are there.
That's
it's
right.
kind of a social get together for the bankers. But there are so many needs out there that banks provide for.
That's right. I mean, there's a lot of baseball teams. There's a lot of golf tournaments. There's a lot of, there's a lot of charities. And it's hard for community banks to choose which ones to support and which ones not to support. The biggest is, first, we want to help our customers. So if, we have a nonprofit that's a customer, we definitely want to try to help support them. The schools are very important to us. Schools, especially right now, are hit hard with budgets. So we want to try to help make sure that they keep their, the band and the theater and some of the other electives that they can have, because in a small community we don't have the real estate tax base like Chicago and some of those to have all of these great education opportunities. So we got to try to keep what we can keep. So that's important to us. The other thing is important is our team members. Our team members, we want to support them, and we also want them to, what's important to them, to support. I mean, there's a lot. And we're Christian based, so we believe in giving and we believe in helping. But at the same time, we've got to take care of what we think is most important in our community.
Yeah, I guess I would just add to that, before I was in community banking, it really opened my eyes to see all the things there are out there to support. I mean, there are so many organizations
Thousands.
doing so much around here. So it opened my eyes to see how much the community bank does, I guess.
Yeah, and our community banks around here all do a very good job of doing support.
We kind of talked about this earlier, but one of the biggest challenges for small towns, I would say, is like succession planning. So business owners retiring without any kind of plan. How do the banks play a role in helping these types of businesses transition to the next generation? I feel like this is a big topic for our bank right now because we've really been focusing on succession planning for our customers and just anybody really in the community, and like learning a lot about that topic has been very interesting.
I know you even mentioned 2 stories that we've supported businesses that were just about to go out of business.
That's right. Those 2. That's what we've been hearing with our customers, that they're ready to retire and move on and they don't know what to do. So, we did a lunch and learn for them to realize that how to go about doing that a little bit. I've met with some customers, and it's trying to find the right fit, and sometimes that's harder. But as community banks, your customers and their business a little better. Mm-hmm. And as people come around, or, you can talk to them about different avenues of doing that. A lot of them don't think about it until it's too late. And, they get behind the 8 ball a little bit. But the biggest as a community bank is when they're ready, they should go in and talk to their banker. They should go in and let them know that, hey, I'm thinking about retiring in 5 to 10 years. What do you think I should be doing? What's the roadmap for that? And that's where a community banker steps in and helps by introducing them to other people, mm-hmm. by making sure they have a good accountant or a good attorney, making sure they have those things in place. So it's vital for us to help do that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a bank kind of serves as the old school Rolodex. We have all these connections to what we do in the community that if somebody were to come to us with that issue, we would be able to connect on some level with them or point them in some kind of direction. So, yeah.
I almost feel like they're kind of like a real estate agent for businesses. Like, well, I'll find someone for you.
The relationship brokers. Yeah. I like
you have to. You have to, because, the online banks and the big banks, if you're there, they're not there to help.
Yeah.
And we are active in the community, so we have the relationships. We can't do the deal for them, but we can definitely hook them up with people to talk to.
Right.
Why does it matter for the town if a business stays open instead of closing its doors? That's kind of an obvious answer, but I'd like to hear your take on it.
It's sad to see a business shutter its doors. Yeah. They have a customer base, and that customer base has got to figure out where to go and where to change. You have, unfortunately, some of these, I think, going back to pharmacies.
Yeah.
You saw the consolidation of all these pharmacies, and the Walgreens and the CVS come in and take out those small pharmacies, and then all of a sudden they just shut down and leave.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, everything's just kind of transferred, and you don't know where to go, what to do. That's where it's sad to see things leave. It's sad to see mm-hmm. things move on. That's why it's important to the succession planning. It's all back to the succession planning, having a better outlet so that those small businesses don't close. They move to the next generation of someone to keep a small business in the community.
I think too, we sit here and we've been talking about sponsorships for us and like how we give, but I mean, let's not forget small businesses also sponsor
Absolutely.
lots of things and give lots of things without people even knowing it. And not to dig on Walgreens, but I don't know if they're given to the local ball field. I mean, they might, but
And yeah, they might, but at the same time, that small pharmacy that they bought out was definitely on the backs of T-shirts, and it's hard to see them leave. The small business go out.
I also think every dollar that a small business give, what I'm trying to say is every dollar means more to a small business than it does to a larger corporation.
Absolutely.
Every dollar that they give is coming from their heart. Like this could have fed their family, or this could have done something for their business, or that would have directly gone into their pockets, where the bigger corporations, it's not that way. So a small business, it means more to give like that.
Right.
What about this? And I might ask this in a weird way. On the housing side, how do mortgages, construction loans, HELOCs, all of those things keep neighborhoods healthy and growing?
Right. That's exactly what they do. So, when they do construction loans or starting and building new homes, with HELOCs, they're keeping their homes up. So they're putting on new roofs and windows and keeping them fresh and keeping the values, keeping home values where they need to be and not letting homes get run down. Those are the biggest things because, in our area and communities, businesses come in and buy these rental homes and buy a bunch of them, and they don't keep them up. And that ruins property values when they try to go sell them. So, seeing people buying homes in the community, that means they're getting invested in the community. They're not leaving. It is very important for communities.
Yeah, I always think that you can always gauge the healthiness of a community by the developments going up inside it. So when
That's
they
right.
start, the developments go somewhere else, you can tell a community's dying rather.
Right.
So
for someone wondering if they are at the right bank, choosing the right bank, what should that relationship feel like for them?
It should feel like a partnership. They should be able to talk to their banker regularly and feel free to ask them any types of questions. Bankers have a ton of knowledge, but we also have a ton of tools. And we see trends, financial trends in their businesses, not their business, but their business that they're in. We see things going on in the community, and it should be a partnership. They should feel free and get information from us. If you can't contact your banker on something small, it's probably not the right fit.
yeah, I always think back to when I was in college and I was moved to a city and trying to decide on a bank, and I went with some big name, right? And you walked in there and I was always afraid. Like, I remember I never wanted to go into the bank. I'd rather just go to an ATM, make my deposits that way. And it's so different being part of a smaller community bank. You see people all the time. We have people walk into the bank and they enjoy being there. They get their soda and they go sit and chat with Polly for a few minutes, and it's just a different feel completely. That rigidness is gone from community banking where you see it.
We had a customer come in the other day and Marion East is under construction right now. And so it's funny that our regular people are still wanting to come into our branch, even though it's crazy under construction. And this guy walked in, he's there every day. And he literally turned around and named everybody's name in the building, even like me. And I don't talk to him hardly ever. He was like, yep, I know all of you. Like, I just love this place.
Yeah.
I love that I get to come here and I know all your names and you know exactly what I need. And I don't know. It's funny.
You'd be surprised that sometimes we're the only people they talk to.
Yeah.
That's
in
true.
a day. You have truck drivers that, coming in to make their deposit. They may have been on the road for all week long. They haven't talked to anybody. So, or a widower that comes in and wants to sit down,
Right.
They may not have anybody to talk to, and we're that person, and that's great. I love it. We love it. We have a great staff that love to, adopt these customers, and they're sending out birthday cards to these people because they're invested in their lives. So it's difficult to choose a bank, though. It really is.
Yeah.
And one of the ways, I think, if I were looking at a bank, if I left our community and moved somewhere else, I think I would be first looking at their social media and trying to get a feel of who these people are, and seeing if driving through town and seeing who's names are on the school signs and the different things, seeing are they investing back in the community type of thing. That's be the first two things I'd be looking for before I ever even looked for a community bank or for a bank.
That's so good because you go off of social media for everything else, every other decision. You look at social media, you look at Yelp reviews, Google reviews, whatever. But when you're considering a bank, that's so true. Like, go look at who they're supporting in the community.
Absolutely.
Just drive around. It doesn't take long for you to see who's actually making an impact.
Right.
And if that's important to you, that's who you want to be partnered with.
Right.
Yeah. What are some questions every business owner should ask their banker before making a big decision?
That's a difficult question there. First, they definitely need to get their banker involved before they make the decision. We can't make the decision for them, but we can give them some tools to see if it's the best decision for them to make. We can help them figure out cash flow wise and see if it's a good cash flow fit for them. Also give them advice on. You'd be surprised how many small businesses don't know about how to go about buying a business or taking on something and really don't have their accounting in place the right way. So, again, it's that partnership that we have with them to give them different names of people to help them, assist them in buying something. That's difficult, but I would say getting your banker involved in a major decision early is the biggest thing you can do, because waiting and saying, hey, I have this loan request, can you help me out? And then they've already made a commitment and it may not be the right fit for them. It may not be the right fit for the bank too. And then they're, scrambling to get it done. And then it may not be on the best financial terms for them.
Yeah, I always think back to when we had our first interview, when we talked, you said sometimes the best answer someone could hear is no. And a lot of times, like you said, people get into trouble because they are making decisions that are not right, or they get into something that's not right for them or their business. Like, even just talking through with their banker, like what their end goal is for this business.
Right.
Maybe they want to start it and sell it. I mean, there's so many different situations, but talking to a banker. Yeah,
the worst thing we want to do is have to liquidate a business.
Right.
We want to see everyone thrive and be successful. And if it gets too far down the road, like you said, no could be what saves them from financial ruin. Mm-hmm. But if they don't get us involved until it's too late, they've already signed a contract and then they're reaching out to whoever to lend them. It's hard to backtrack that.
Yeah.
What's one myth about banks you'd like to set straight?
It's the obvious myth.
What is it?
It drives me crazy. That we have all the cash in the banks. That we are full of cash in our vaults, like
physical cash.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked at that too when I first started working.
Like we're
I was like,
Scrooge
wow.
McDuck, and we have all this money in a vault somewhere that we play with. I mean, it's amazing, and it's from all ages. It's not just from little kids. It's all the way up to some older ones that'll say, "Hey, can I see where you keep my money? Do you have my entire deposit here?"
Like, no,
no, we don't keep all that cash. We put that cash to work. It's not sitting here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like taken back because you're thinking, are they messing with me?
Yeah.
But they're not. So that's the biggest one is banks do not have tons of cash just sitting in their vaults, just waiting for people to come withdraw it all.
And if they did, you would think that would be not the right bank for you, because they're not putting it to work for the better of the community.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised at how many will come in and want to make this huge cash with like $200,000-$300,000 cash withdrawal, which first off is dangerous. No one should ever want to take tons of cash out of the bank, but they're like, you mean you don't have $200,000 in cash just sitting for me to take out? No, and you shouldn't want to take that out.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So, that's
because if something happens to that when you leave the bank, I mean, sorry.
I know.
It's and you know what? People have make financial decisions and they want to do that. That's fine, but they need to give us some time to be able to get that cash there and not just think that we were just holding it.
Well, I feel like we've asked enough questions about the bank. Let's ask a few questions about you. Rapid fire. What's the first job you ever had?
I was a lifeguard.
And you still swim today. You
I
teach shark classes or what? Is it bull sharks?
No, it's not bull sharks.
What is it?
I helped fill in for the bullfish swim team this year. Yeah,
Bullfish.
they're bullfish in Harrisburg. Go along with our bulldogs.
I'm a heron tiger, so
That's right.
sorry.
Tigerfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiger sharks.
Tiger shark.
They're the tiger sharks. Yeah.
That's why I said
No,
it.
I got to fill in this year. It was a lot of fun for a couple days.
So that's your first job?
Yeah. So lifeguarding was my first job.
Wow.
That's awesome. What was your first job?
I was a gymnastics coach at Snow Power.
Okay. I was a housekeeper. So what's your favorite local tradition you look forward to each year?
It's kind of cliche-ish for me, but I would say homecoming. I never used to, but now I like the homecoming events. I like seeing people come back to the community and seeing what Harrisburg or Marion or Heron's doing. I love the parades. I love seeing everybody.
You love your big fat head in the parade, don't you?
I do love my big fat head. Yeah. I wish that fat head would find its way to the dumpster. But yeah, I do. I enjoy walking in the parades and seeing people. And yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I think that's a local tradition that it's good to see people come back home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a really fun thing that's happened this year at the bank that you enjoyed being a part of?
I would say our quarterly celebrations. We just had a fantastic one with Family Feud, and I got to dress up as Steve Harvey, and seeing how much everyone on the team stuck around to play and got engaged and laughed and joked and
dress up and
have a good time.
And won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your team won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing how they enjoy it as teams. In every celebration, when it's team related, they all come dressed up as different themes, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you won't get that at a bigger bank.
No.
The community
No.
or the celebrations that we do.
No.
Yeah.
Those are the wins, seeing us get engaged in the community as a group is a lot of fun. And that's a win. That's a win to me when it's, back in the day, it'd be 3 or 4 people, but when it's 20 to 30 people showing up to support something, that's fantastic. That's when you're on the right track.
For sure. What about one financial habit you think makes families more resilient?
Savings. Having some savings is huge. We never know what's around the door. That could be coming. It could be a car breaking down or health issues. Health issues are big because it costs a lot of money, for health issues, being out of work or different things. So to make them resilient and get rid of the stress is to have some savings, 6 months worth of your salary in savings in case something bad were to happen. And hope that you never need it,
What are you looking forward to this year?
The year's almost over.
I know.
Sasquatch Festival? That's a hard
The
word
Christmas
to say.
party.
The year's almost over. It's been so fast.
Strategic planning.
I do love strategic planning. I am kind of a goofball with that. I do love, that's going to be a lot of fun, strategic planning. But I think just seeing what we finish up the year, we've done so much through the year already through September. I mean, it's September 2nd.
Yeah.
Is that going to screw you guys up by me saying
No,
September
it's perfect.
2nd? Okay.
It's coming out on Monday. So.
Okay. But, it's, we're already 3/4 through the year and we've accomplished a lot and we've got a lot still to get done. And, we set those goals at the beginning of the year, and I'd say the biggest thing that I look forward to is seeing what we're going to finish the year at, how much we've accomplished, how many goals that we surpassed, and ready to lay out what's in store for next year. That's what I look forward to, what's in store for next year too. But you have to celebrate your wins throughout the year, and you have to celebrate them at the end of the year. But yeah, getting ready for next year, but also seeing what we do this year is what I look forward to.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Charlie, for this conversation. I think it's pretty clear how much the small banks do to support the community. And they're kind of the backbone of small towns. So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having me back.
You're welcome.
Maybe I get to come back sooner.
Maybe
Then
we'll let
later.
you on again. I think it's maybe been like 2 years. Sorry.
I know.
Bring us your next proposal. What do you want to talk about?
There you go.
I love it.
You guys have done a great job getting these podcasts together. It takes a lot of work that everyone doesn't really understand. And I appreciate that you guys do that. But yeah, this is fun. I've loved it. I had a great time.
Me too.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
So Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.